What if the secret to fighting diabetes, melting belly fat, and lowering cholesterol was hidden in a simple leaf you could find in your kitchen right now? Ancient remedies are making a comeback, and science is finally catching up to reveal the real power of certain leaves for your health. Imagine turning your daily tea or salad into a natural medicine that protects your heart, balances your sugar, and boosts your energy without any side effects. What if I told you that one simple leaf could help fight diabetes, lower bad cholesterol, and shrink stubborn belly fat all at the same time? It might sound too good to be true, but stay with me for just a few minutes. In fact, you don't need fancy pills, expensive treatments, or strict diets to feel better. Sometimes nature gives us exactly what we need, in fact. And today, we're going to talk about one powerful leaf that's been quietly changing lives. In fact, hi there, friend. In fact, if you're over 60 and feeling tired of fighting blood sugar swings, rising cholesterol numbers, or that the stubborn belly weight that just won't go away, this might be the most important thing you watch all week. In fact, studies now show that this one leaf contains special compounds that support your metabolism, protect your heart, reduce inflammation, and help your body burn fat more efficiently even while you rest. In fact, and that's not all. In fact, before I reveal the number one most powerful leaf, I'm also going to share several other leaves that may already be in your kitchen or garden, each one with incredible health benefits for your digestion, circulation energy, and even your cravings. In fact, let me know in the comments if you've ever used herbal leaves for your health. In fact, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Healthy Roots 99, where we bring you natural science-backed tips for stronger living every week. Ready to take the first step toward a lighter, healthier body? Let's dive in, because the very first leaf on our list might already be sitting in your tea cabinet. In fact, a leaf you probably recognize, in fact, peppermint. In fact, it's more than just a fresh flavor. In fact, did you know it can actually help boost your metabolism even when you're sitting still? That means your body burns more calories naturally, something that gets tougher with age. But peppermint doesn't stop there. In fact, it soothes digestion, reduces bloating, and helps flush out excess fluid that causes that heavy, swollen belly feeling. In fact, even better studies show peppermint can help stabilize blood sugar, reduce sugar spikes, and ease cravings for sweets. In fact, it's also good for your heart, lowering bad cholesterol, LDL, raising the good HDL, and protecting your arteries. Just one soothing cup of peppermint tea a day can do wonders. In fact, have you tried it before? Share your favorite way to enjoy peppermint in the comments. In fact, and don't forget to like this video if you find these tips helpful. In fact, up next, a little known leaf that's packed with plant protein and fiber. In fact, you won't believe what it can do. Now let's talk about a leaf you may not have heard much about, Oroponobus. In fact, it's a bit of a mouthful, but trust me, this little leaf is a nutritional powerhouse. In fact, it's loaded with plant-based protein and fiber, two things that help you feel fuller longer, reduce cravings, and keep your blood sugar steady after meals. That's key if you're managing diabetes or trying to avoid those sugar crashes that leave you tired and hungry. In fact, the fiber in this leaf also helps sweep out excess cholesterol, protect your arteries, and support healthy digestion. In fact, many people notice less bloating and more regular bowel movements after adding it to their routine. Even better, Orus fights silent inflammation in the body and supports a healthier metabolism overall. In fact, have you ever tried this leaf in soups or stir-fries? Let me know below. In fact, I'd love to hear how you use it. In fact, and stay tuned because the next leaf has been used for centuries to calm inflammation and balance blood sugar naturally. In fact, here's a leaf that's been quietly helping people for centuries. In fact, sage, if you're dealing with stubborn belly fat, high blood sugar, or rising cholesterol, this little leaf might be your new best friend. In fact, sage has natural anti-inflammatory powers that help calm your body from the inside out. In fact, that's important because chronic inflammation is a hidden cause behind weight gain, insulin resistance, and even heart issues. It also helps regulate blood sugar and supports better insulin sensitivity, making it easier for your cells to absorb glucose without those dangerous spikes. In fact, plus, it can help lower bad cholesterol while raising the good kind, giving your heart the support it deserves. In fact, have you ever cooked with sage or tried it as a tea? Let me know in the comments. Up next, a sacred leaf known for melting belly fat and cleansing the body from within. In fact, a powerful leaf that's often called the queen of herbs, holy basil. In fact, this isn't your regular kitchen basil. In fact, it's been treasured for its healing properties, especially when it comes to blood sugar and cholesterol. In fact, holy basil helps balance your blood sugar and prevents those sharp spikes that can lead to weight gain and fatigue. It also calms inflammation, the silent force behind belly fat, insulin resistance, and heart problems. In fact, what's more, it lowers bad cholesterol and supports your circulation, making it a true ally for heart health. In fact, and if you ever feel bloated or sluggish, holy basil acts like a gentle detox, flushing out excess fluids and toxins that weigh you down. Have you ever tried a holy basil tea or used it in cooking? I'd love to hear your experience. In fact, coming up next, a popular pizza herb with surprising benefits for your blood sugar and waistline. In fact, you might think of oregano as just a pizza topping, but it's actually one of the most powerful herbs for your metabolism. In fact, oregano is packed with antioxidants that help calm inflammation and protect your cells from damage, especially the kind that contributes to diabetes, cholesterol issues, and stubborn belly fat. Its natural compounds improve insulin sensitivity, helping your body handle sugar more smoothly and avoid dangerous spikes. In fact, that means more stable energy and fewer cravings. In fact, it also supports healthy cholesterol by lowering the bad LDL and boosting the good HDL while helping to clear out your arteries and protect your heart. Do you ever sprinkle oregano on soups or salads? Let me know how you like to use it. In fact, next one, humble leaf that acts like nature's water pill and supports your kidneys, heart, and belly all at once. In fact, let's talk about a leaf that's probably sitting in your fridge right now. In fact, parsley. In fact, it might look simple, but don't underestimate it. Parsley is one of nature's best natural diuretics. In fact, it helps your body flush out excess fluid, sodium, and toxins, relieving that heavy, bloated feeling around your belly and easing pressure on your kidneys and heart. In fact, it also supports healthy blood sugar levels by improving how your body responds to insulin. That means fewer sugar spikes and more stable energy throughout the day. In fact, on top of that, parsley helps lower bad cholesterol, fights inflammation, and even supports your liver. In fact, it's packed with vitamins A, C, and K, plus minerals like potassium and iron. In fact, do you add parsley to your meals or juices? I'd love to know how you use it. Coming up next, a soothing leaf that not only calms your nerves but helps balance blood sugar and melt belly fat too. In fact, now let's talk about a calming herb with powerful hidden benefits, lemon balm. In fact, you might know it for its relaxing scent, but it does so much more than help you unwind. In fact, lemon balm helps lower blood sugar naturally by improving how your body uses insulin, making it a gentle ally for managing diabetes or preventing it altogether. It also fights chronic inflammation, which is a key driver behind belly fat, high cholesterol, and even heart disease. In fact, feeling stressed, lemon balm helps reduce cortisol, the stress hormone that makes your body store fat, especially around the middle. In fact, plus it supports healthy blood pressure and circulation while giving your digestion a gentle boost. Have you ever tried lemon balm tea in the evening? Let me know in the comments. In fact, coming up next, a fresh minty leaf that works wonders for your belly and blood sugar. In fact, you've probably enjoyed the refreshing taste of mint, but did you know it can also help your digestion? Blood sugar and belly fat, mint soothe your digestive system, reduces gas and bloating, and helps your body process food more efficiently. That means less discomfort and better fat breakdown. In fact, it also has a mild diuretic effect, helping your body release excess fluid and sodium. In fact, that's a big help if you often feel puffy or swollen, especially around the midsection. In fact, even better, mint supports a stable blood sugar by improving insulin sensitivity that helps reduce sugar spikes and keeps your energy more steady. And its antioxidants also support healthy cholesterol levels and heart function. In fact, have you ever added mint to your water or salads? I'd love to hear your favorite way to enjoy it. In fact, up next, flavorful leaf that calms inflammation and protects your heart from the inside out. In fact, let's take a closer look at basil, a fragrant leaf you might already use in your cooking. In fact, but beyond the flavor, basil is packed with healing power. In fact, it helps regulate blood sugar by making your cells more responsive to insulin. In fact, that means fewer sugar highs and crashes and better energy throughout the day. In fact, basil also fights inflammation, one of the root causes behind weight gain, high cholesterol, and heart disease. It even supports cholesterol balance by lowering the bad LDL and raising the good HDL, keeping your arteries clear and your heart protected. In fact, and here's something special. In fact, basil can help ease stress by balancing hormones like cortisol, making it easier to manage weight and cravings. In fact, do you use basil fresh or as tea? Let me know in the comments. Coming up next, a humble weed with serious detox powers. In fact, you've probably seen dandelion growing in your yard, but this little leaf is one of nature's most powerful detox tools. In fact, dandelion helps cleanse your liver, which plays a huge role in how your body handles fat, sugar, and toxins. In fact, a healthier liver means better metabolism and easier fat loss, especially around the belly. It also works as a natural diuretic, flushing out extra fluid and sodium, helping you feel lighter and less bloated. In fact, dandelion supports healthy blood sugar levels by improving insulin response and preventing sugar spikes. In fact, and when it comes to cholesterol, it helps reduce the bad LDL and keep your arteries clean. Plus, it calms inflammation in both your digestive system and blood vessels. In fact, have you ever tried dandelion tea or greens in a salad? I'd love to hear how you use it. In fact, up next, a fragrant leaf that not only boosts metabolism, but helps your body burn fat faster. In fact, a wonderfully fragrant herb you might already cook with. In fact, rosemary. In fact, but beyond the smell and flavor, it's a powerful ally for your metabolism and heart. Rosemary helps improve insulin sensitivity, which means your body can handle sugar more efficiently, leading to more stable blood sugar and less fat storage. In fact, it also lowers bad cholesterol. LDL supports healthy circulation and helps keep your arteries clean. In fact, that's a big win for your heart. In fact, what's really special, rosemary helps your cells burn more fat by boosting mitochondrial activity, your body's natural energy engines. And like many of the best herbs, it's a natural anti-inflammatory and gentle diuretic, helping your body release toxins and reduce swelling. In fact, do you use rosemary in cooking or teas? Share your favorite way below. In fact, coming up next, a surprising leaf from a creamy fruit that does wonders for blood sugar and liver fat. You've probably enjoyed the fruit, but have you ever heard about the power of the avocado leaf? This leaf is a hidden gem when it comes to blood sugar, cholesterol, and belly fat. In fact, it's one of the most anti-inflammatory leaves out there, helping calm the body and protect your heart, liver, and kidneys. In fact, avocado leaves improve how your body uses insulin, meaning less sugar gets stored as fat and your energy stays more balanced. They also help break down liver fat, which is often silent but dangerous, especially as we age. In fact, and when it comes to cholesterol, this leaf helps lower the bad LDL and raise the good HDL, improving circulation and reducing heart risks. In fact, it even acts as a natural diuretic, helping reduce swelling and flush out toxins. In fact, have you ever tried avocado leaf tea? Let me know if you'd give it a try. Next, we'll explore a sweet-scented leaf that targets blood sugar and belly fat at the same time. In fact, the mango leaf has powerful benefits that most people don't know about. In fact, it's especially helpful if you're trying to manage blood sugar and reduce belly fat. In fact, mango leaves are rich in antioxidants that support insulin balance, helping prevent sugar spikes and the crashes that follow. That means more steady energy and less fat storage around the belly. In fact, they also help lower bad cholesterol and protect your arteries from plaque buildup, keeping your heart healthier. In fact, even better, mango leaves support fat breakdown by activating enzymes that help your body use stored fat as energy. In fact, and with mild anti-inflammatory and detox effects, they gently support your metabolism and overall wellness. Have you ever used mango leaves in tea? Share your thoughts below. In fact, up next, a leaf you've probably cooked with that quietly supports digestion, heart health, and blood sugar balance. In fact, bay leaves help your body digest food more efficiently by boosting digestive enzymes. In fact, that means less fat buildup and less bloating after meals. They also improve insulin sensitivity, helping keep your blood sugar stable, a key part of managing or preventing diabetes. In fact, bay leaves are known to lower bad cholesterol, LDL, protect your arteries, and support healthy circulation, all important for heart health. In fact, and with a gentle diuretic effect, they help flush out excess fluid and reduce swelling, especially around the belly. Do you usually cook with whole bay leaves? Let me know how you use them. In fact, coming up next, a leaf packed with flavonoids that fights inflammation, sugar spikes, and stubborn belly fat all at once. In fact, let's talk about a leaf that's often overlooked. In fact, mulberry leaf. In fact, it's one of the most complete leaves for supporting your metabolism, especially if you're managing diabetes or cholesterol. Mulberry leaves help regulate blood sugar by improving how your body responds to insulin, reducing sugar spikes that lead to fat storage and energy crashes. In fact, they also support healthy circulation by strengthening blood vessels and reducing bad cholesterol LDL while increasing the good HDL. That's great news for your heart. In fact, this leaf even boosts fat burning, especially around the belly, and helps calm internal inflammation that slows your metabolism. In fact, you can enjoy it as a tea or in supplement form. In fact, it's simple, safe, and very effective. In fact, have you ever tried mulberry leaf tea? Let me know in the comments. Now get ready, because up next is the most powerful leaf of all. In fact, the one that could truly transform your health. In fact, if you're looking for natural support for diabetes, high cholesterol, and stubborn belly fat, this one truly stands out. In fact, olive leaves are rich in a special compound called oleuropein, which helps balance blood sugar, improve insulin sensitivity, and prevent sugar spikes that lead to fat storage, especially around the belly. They also lower bad cholesterol, LDL, raise good cholesterol, HDL, and protect your arteries from buildup, reducing your risk of heart attack and stroke. In fact, even more impressive, olive leaf helps activate fat-burning enzymes and reduce liver fat, making it one of the best natural options for full body metabolic support. Do you already take olive leaf extract or drink it as tea? I'd love to know. In fact, and remember, sometimes the simplest things from nature can make the biggest difference. In fact, so there you have it. In fact, some of the most powerful healing leaves nature has to offer. In fact, from peppermint to olive leaf, each one brings something special to the table. In fact, whether it's helping you manage blood sugar, lower cholesterol, ease inflammation, or finally lose that stubborn belly fat. And the best part, most of these are easy to find, easy to use, and gentle on the body. In fact, you don't need expensive pills or complicated routines. In fact, sometimes it just starts with a simple cup of tea or a sprinkle of herbs on your dinner. In fact, if any of these leaves are already part of your daily habits, I'd love to hear about it in the comments, or if you have tried something new today, let me know how it goes. Your experience might inspire someone else watching. In fact, and if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Healthy Roots 999. In fact, we're here to support you with simple natural tips to feel a stronger, lighter, and more in control of your health every step of the way. In fact, take good care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.